the clock that ticks backward. Every tick takes a memory. In the quiet hum of a forgotten street, tucked away behind a facade of chipped paint and forgotten dreams, stood a small antique shop. It was the kind of place that whispered tales of yesteryear, where dust motes danced in sunbeams, illuminating relics of lives long past. And within its cluttered embrace amidst the forgotten, I found Eton old clock, unassuming in its brass and darkened wood. I bought it, not for any grand purpose, but perhaps drawn by an unspoken curiosity, a subtle magnetism that I couldn't quite explain. It was just a unique piece, I told myself, a quaint addition to my modest collection of curiosities. I brought it home, placing it on the mantelpiece, where it seemed to settle in, a silent sentinel in my living room. Then I noticed it. The second hand, a slender, elegant needle, was not sweeping clockwise as all proper clocks should. It was moving counterclockwise, a slow, deliberate march against the natural flow of time. And at first, it was merely an oddity, a peculiar antique, nothing more. I even found a certain charm in its defiance, a quiet rebellion against the relentless forward march of moments. I'd occasionally glance at it, a faint smile playing on my lips, amused by its backward journey. But then the subtle distortions began. It started innocently enough, a fleeting disorientation. I'd misplace my keys only to find them exactly where I'd left them. A momentary lapse of memory that I dismissed as mere absent-mindedness. Names of acquaintances, once readily recalled, would hover just beyond my grasp, like butterflies too shy to land. I'd chuckle, attributing it to a busy mind, the daily grind dulling the sharpness of my recall. But the clock, with its ceaseless reverse rhythm, was a hungry entity. Its backwards ticks were not just moving hands, but devouring fragments of my existence, piece by piece. The initial forgetfulness deepened into a chilling void. Treasured memories, once vibrant and crystal clear, began to blur, their edges softening, colors fading. The warmth of a summer afternoon spent with loved ones, the scent of a childhood home, the sound of laughter, they became echoes, whispers from a distant, receding shore. I'd find myself staring at photographs, recognizing the faces, but the emotions, the shared experiences that gave them life were gone, replaced by an unsettling emptiness. Or then the faces themselves began to dissipate. Familiar features, the unique lines and contours that defined my friends, my family, my beloved became indistinct, like sketches smudged by an eraser. They were there, but not quite. A profound terror began to unfurl within me, a cold, creeping dread that tightened its grip around my heart. The clock was no mere mechanism, it was a devourer of memory, an insidious thief of self. This wasn't just forgetting, this was an erosion, a fundamental breakdown of the very fabric of my being. In panic, a sharp, metallic taste filled my mouth. I reached for the clock, my hand trembling, determined to stop its malevolent work, to silence its relentless backwards, ticking to reclaim the pieces of myself it had stolen. But an inexplicable force, a paralyzing reluctance, held me back. My hand hovered, shaking, unable to grasp the cold brass. A strange, insistent whisper echoed in my mind, a phantom thought that wasn't quite my own, urging me to let it continue. It was as if a part of me, a deeper, subconscious current, was accepting, even welcoming this slow obliteration. Perhaps, I began to muse in the fading clarity of my mind, this clock wasn't just taking from me. Perhaps it was also giving an escape, a quiet release from burdens I didn't even realize I carried. The painful regrets, the sharp edges of sorrow, the weight of past mistakes. Were these the memories it was consuming first? Was it meticulously, mercifully stripping away the layers of anguish, leaving behind a placid, untroubled blankness? The thought, chilling in its implication, also held a strange, seductive comfort. To be free from the torment of memory, from the responsibility of my past, from the very notion of it was a terrifying prospect, yet one tinged with a perverse sense of peace. The psychological terror of memory loss, the fundamental self-identity dissolving, was undeniably present. But within that terror, a peculiar anodyne began to bloom. The truth, as the web search results suggested, was that memory is intrinsically linked to self-identity. And perhaps for me, the erasure of self was becoming a form of salvation. And as the days, or perhaps weeks, bled into each other, the world around me grew increasingly abstract. The intricate tapestry of my life unraveled, thread by thread. My own reflection in the mirror became a stranger's face, devoid of recognition, yet oddly serene. The constant hum of the clock, its reverse rotations, became the only constant, the only anchor in a sea of forgotten realities. The panic, once so visceral, had long since subsided, replaced by a profound, almost blissful calm. The struggle to remember, the frantic clawing at the walls of a collapsing mind, ceased. There was nothing left to fight for, no one left to remember. And in the end, I stood before the clock, its hands still diligently, tirelessly turning backward. My name, the very sound of it, had become an alien word, a meaningless collection of syllables. The face staring back at me from the polished brass of the clock's pendulum was serene. A faint, contented smile gracing my lips. A deep, weary sigh escaped my chest. A breath I didn't realize I'd been holding for an eternity. My eyes, devoid of past burdens, of future anxieties, closed. The world, once a vibrant, complex symphony, faded into a quiet, comforting hum. The second hand continued its slow, inexorable journey backward, unwinding my existence until, like a forgotten dream, I was no more, as if I had never been, as if the very notion of my presence in this world had been meticulously, flawlessly erased by the hungry, reverse-turning hands of the old clock.